Hello, Power Up Nation. Pat Council here, and I'm going to talk about the power of your self-image in business. Now, this is really a big deal. So I want to ask you, do you know your business image? So it's not enough to just think, I have a business. I want to make lots of money. I want to see myself as the ultimate success. And I want to be the ultimate success, rather. And yet you don't see yourself as the ultimate success in the present moment. Power is in the present moment. A lot of times we go, well, when I make it, then this is what I'll do then, or this is what I'll think then. And that's not how it's supposed to play out. So let's talk a little bit about the power of your self-image in business. And so we're talking about this because there are people that I coach and they're leaving jobs. They're coming from a job, and some of them have high paying jobs. And then all of a sudden they start a business and they think, well, I'm earning $2 or $3 or $400,000 on this business a year, or in this company that I worked for a year. That's what I was earning. So I'm going to set the exact same goal for my new business, and I'm going to make the same thing. Why? Because I'm a professional. Well, here's the thing that you can learn. You can learn from kind of setting your goals based on that. You can learn a lot about you, about yourself, about your self-image. Changing jobs or even changing certain roles without updating the pictures that you hold of yourself, limits your productivity and your income. So you actually have to change the picture, because while you made that money on the job, someone else was paying you. When you become an entrepreneur, you are in essence paying yourself, in the sense that you're providing a service or products that people are really excited about, or they love the products and they're kind of willing to give you lots of money for it. So they're paying you, but you're also paying yourself based on how you view your product, how you view your service, and most importantly, how you view yourself. It is possible for you to go into business and you can actually achieve beyond, let's say, the self-image, your current self-image. But here's the thing, it's not possible to maintain that achievement for any length of time unless you expand your self-image. So you have to update your self-image in order for you to achieve the goals that you set. So again, do you know your business image? What do you think about yourself? Not just as a business owner. How do you see yourself in the role that you're playing in that business? As I was describing earlier, it's not easy for seasoned professionals to see themselves as anything different, even if they switch to becoming a business owner. And most of them will adopt the thought that, well, I'll believe it when I see it, because that's how it works when you're being paid. You already know what you're going to be paid. You already know what your salary is. You already know that if you show up and continue to do the job, that when payday comes, you know what you're going to get. You know the amount of money that you're going to get. But you have to kind of change your thinking when it comes to running your own business. You get to decide how much you're going to get or how much you would like to earn. And then what do? You upgrade your self-image to match that picture. You have to figure out what that looks like. For example, if you're earning, use a nice round figure. If you're earning $100,000 a year on a job and you want to switch that and go into a business where you're earning $100,000 a year, you cannot take the same way of thinking over to this business. You can talk to countless number of people who've done that, and they will tell you at some point they thought they were going to have to close the business because they couldn't understand why it wasn't working. And then one day it clicked. They start to see themselves in a different light. You have to see yourself as the CEO, as the owner of that business, as the provider of the best services, the ultimate service. You have to see yourself as providing the best products, the ultimate products, and that the person, meaning you, the CEO, who's making sure that these services and products are available, that you are bringing your best because you see yourself as being the best. Now, we hesitate to sometimes think, well, I'm the best because there's somebody out there who's better than I am. Well, this isn't about someone who's more skillful, someone who's been in the business longer than you and have done it successfully. You can learn from that person. But you must see yourself as a contender. You have to see yourself as someone who's bringing something just as wonderful. You can't see yourself as beneath that person. Okay, because you're only going to earn what a person who's beneath another person that's in a similar business to yours. That's all you can earn because you're thinking you're beneath that person. Now, here's my caveat. That does not mean you don't give that person their respect. But the other side to that is they should give you the respect as well. But if you're learning from them, while they still should give you the respect, and part of respect is them being honest with you, which is going to help you upgrade your self-image. So your self-image in business is about seeing you first and understanding, again, your connection to that business. In one of my, or actually two of my podcast episodes, one of the podcast episodes is called Your Success is Always About You. And the other one is questions that will improve your success level. So you may want to listen to those if you haven't, and you want to see if you're asking yourself those questions. Because in order for you to upgrade your self-image to match the outcome that you're looking for in your business, you have to ask yourself the right questions. A lot of times we go into business with a great idea about the business, but we forget to expand our self-image to accommodate that outcome. The outcome that we were hoping to get. We see ourselves perhaps driving a nicer car, living in a fancy home or bigger home because this business and this brilliant business idea or brilliant business service is going to bring us just that much money because you're going to serve that many customers. But when the customers aren't coming, then we start to wonder what's wrong. Well, sometimes it's just not good marketing. Okay, but the other side to that coin is the self-image is not accommodating what we had hoped for. The thing that we desired the most, the customers, the flow of business, and the money. So we think if we put it out there, it's just going to take off like a rocket. Well, if you're stuck, if you've done everything you know to do, if you've followed all the rules of the game and you feel like you have a really great marketing plan and somehow, it's not happening, you've gone all out. Okay, so it's just not making it rain. The money's not coming in. The customers aren't coming in like you thought. Then take a look at your self-image. Sometimes when I'm coaching people, I hear them talk about the fact that they are, I'm so nervous. There's nothing wrong with being nervous, but maintain your picture, your self-image. What do you look like? Who are you? Maintain that image. Keep your mind on that because you have to cut yourself some slack. Recognize that you're learning something new. You're doing something new. And if you're learning from perhaps a coach or a mentor or a course or a book, wherever you're learning from, you're still learning. And you have to understand that, there's always a learning curve. Now, one of the beautiful things, of course, about a course or a coach or a mentor or even participating in a masterclass. And of course, I'm going to take this time to kind of remind you guys of the masterclass that I do have coming up. And this is where we're going to deal with the self-image and other things. And it's called Shift to Your Magnificent Life. And this is about helping you live from that position of power so you can overcome those habits that are holding you down. A lot of times the habits that hold you back, those habits are rooted in your self-image. So it's important to deal with that. So when we're not getting the results that we want in our business, what happens is, we get confusion kind of sets in. We're wondering like, what happened? I'm doing everything right. Or sometimes we just become disappointed and we go, maybe I'm not cut out for this. a lot of times that's not the case, because initially you were inspired, you were excited, you stepped out there, but your self-image is the one thing that you didn't upgrade. You didn't expand it. And I'm not just like spouting off and just talking about things that I have not lived and things I don't know anything about. I see this sometimes, not all the time, but I see this when I'm coaching people sometimes, and they're coming from corporate America, and they come thinking that this is going to be very easy. But then when they find out what they have to do, they convince themselves that this is hard. And the reason why they think it's hard is because they didn't have to do all of this in corporate America. And so they don't upgrade their self-image. They think that, well, some of them think that, well, you know what? I worked in corporate America. I earned six figures. I know what it's like to make money. So, I know what I'm doing. And then when they're not making any money, then they become frustrated. And then they go, I don't know what happened. What went wrong? Well, you have to upgrade your self-image. And that's the same thing as your personal identity. And I talked about that in another podcast as well. The key is to power up your self-image by seeing yourself as you want to be, not as you are, or I should say as you desire to be. Desire is a better word. Not as you are. Turn your present moment into a successful vision. The way you win, the way you thrive in business is you see yourself as a successful business owner long before it happens. See, it doesn't mean you don't have to learn new things. It doesn't mean you don't have to do the work. It doesn't mean that you don't have to perhaps have a mentor or a coach and have a few corrections pointed out to you. Doesn't mean that. What it means is that you see yourself as you desire to be, and you're going to do whatever it takes to fulfill that vision. Your self-image has been upgraded. Now, that might sound unrealistic, but it works. The Bible says, call those things that be not as though they were. So if you want to thrive in your business, you have to shift your thinking to a higher level. And that's what it's about. So whenever you set a goal to achieve something that you've never done before, then start by first seeing yourself as you want to be, not as you are. Okay, a lot of people say, well, it takes time. It's step by step. You have to grow into it. Yes, you have to do all of those things, but you have to begin with the end in mind. And of course, that was mentioned in Stephen Covey's book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. He didn't say, think about it when you get there. He says, that was one of the habits. Begin with the end in mind. And of course, another habit was about being proactive. So when you think about the power of your self-image in business, I hope, this short podcast explains to you or give you some insight into how important it is to power up that self-image, and how powerful having the right self-image in business, or about your business and in business, how important that is. And that's very powerful in what it can do for you. The thing about it is, when it comes to our self-image, we think that we only have to adopt one self-image. But here's the thing. You have as many pictures of yourself as you have roles to play in life. And this adds up to many different self-images. So sometimes people say, well, who are you? And it's not about you not being authentic. We talked about that actually on yesterday's podcast when I talked about what is being authentic. So it's not about the fact that you're not authentic. What it is that you have to know which self-image to activate for which event. So in other words, if you're married, if you're a wife, you're not going to bring your business, just say your business attitude home Okay. And if you're the CEO, you're not going to come home saying, listen, I'm the CEO. And when I get home, that dinner should be ready. This part should be clean. And you should be over here doing that. And by the way, someone feed that dog. You're not going to come talking like that. Of course, even though you run your business, you still wouldn't talk like that. But that's just for effect. So if you're talking to your children, then your self-image becomes something different. And this same thing applies for men. If you're talking to your children, okay, now you're going to talk to them like a father, a loving father, hopefully. And you're going to listen to them, and you're going to give them that feeling of safety, which is what fathers are designed to do. So you're going to switch to that. But we're talking about your self-image when it comes to your business. And so one of the things I would suggest to you is to take a look at all the roles that you play in life, in your life right now. Okay. Are you a mother? Are you a father, husband, wife? What roles do you have to play? And you need to look at that. Are you a CEO, or just kind of go down the list of things that you have to the roles that you have to play? Are you a caretaker for parents or someone else? So look at all of that and then write out what all of that looks like, what each role looks like. And then, since we're talking about business, write down what your self-image looks like as a business person. Okay. And then highlight that. And so you know that when you perhaps leave home and you go to the job, or even if you work at home and you go into your home office, you know that now you're putting on your CEO hat. Okay. So think about all of that. Be aware. Everything when it comes to you building that successful business, it is based on what you know and what you don't know, what you do and what you don't do. And what that means is, how can you know something that you're not aware of? So you want to become more aware. You want to learn more about who you are. As I say on this podcast often, your success actually in life and business, it all begins with you. No one else. Okay. It begins and ends with you. Because if you decide that you want to fail at the business, heaven forbid, then you'll do what it takes. That's the image you'll adopt. But if you decide that beyond, no matter what it takes, I'm going to win. And when I say no matter what it takes, I'm not talking about ignoring your family or leaving people behind or something, something not nice. I'm not talking about that. Okay. I'm talking about doing whatever it takes along the lines of what's right, what's good, and what's going to amplify that business and give you that positive, wonderful self-image that you need so that you can follow through and have a profitable business. This might sound like a small thing, but I promise you, a lot of times when people go into business, they want to look at all the mechanics of it. Okay, I need to learn accounting, and I need to learn how to order the widgets, and I need to learn how to do all of these things. What licenses do I need? So they get all of these things, and then they forget to take a look at their self-image. What kind of self-image am I going to adopt? Because you do have to change your self-image. No, that does not take away from your authenticity. That makes you more authentic because you're willing to rise up to that level, that mental level that you need, that imagination that you need to activate so that you can follow through on a business that you have been inspired to start. So personal growth, you guys, and personal development, that's an extremely important thing. That's just as important. A lot of people always I don't have enough money. I want to borrow money from the bank, or I've got to get money from somewhere so I can get my business going. But I can tell you, personal development and personal growth is just as important as getting money for that business. You can get $2, $3, $5, $10 million from a bank to run your business. But if you're not intact, if your self-image is not where it needs to be so that you can maximize on that business and make that a profitable business so you can pay that money back and then have a profit left over and keep growing and going to the next level, you're not going to go. So personal development is a very, very big deal. So with that being said, I could go on and on, but I'm not going to. This is our Thriving Thursday where we talk about different aspects of business. And so uh, for now, I think we're going to stick with a lot of the personal development and a lot of personal growth as it relates to business, because I'm finding that it's the soft skills and it is also the personal skills that people, they're not paying attention to those. They're all looking for uh, my least favorite word. They're all looking for a hack. Which hack will work? Which hack will take me to where I want to be? Which hack will get me more money the fastest in my business? Even if you bring that money in the fastest, if you have not grown personally and if you've not developed yourself, you're going to be right back where you started. Okay, so as they say, the struggle will continue. But with that being said, you guys, um, I hope you found some benefit in this. And by the way, one of the new things that I've implemented with Designing Your Life Today, this podcast shows up on our website, designingyourlifetoday.com. You can go, you can listen to it there, and you can also leave your comments. So feel free to leave any comments that you would like to leave about the episode. You can even post in there what you would like me to talk about, what you would like me to share. If I'm not knowledgeable in that area, I will definitely bring someone on as a guest to share that information with you. In the meantime, I want you guys to have an amazing day and do life with power, because you're built by design to win. And I have to say this again. Oh, don't forget to check out my course. You can see everything in the show notes. The Shift to Your Magnificent Life. Go to designingyourlifeachieversacademy.com and you can click on there, get some information, and you can register. It is a masterclass and a course combined. So we're going to be hanging out with each other live. So it's going to be great. Do life with power.